components for this aircraft regarding the Ahmedabad incidents. And also, we understand that a number of airlines world over have grounded their Boeing 787 Dreamliner fleets after the Ahmedabad air crash. So I would like to know from the Honorable Minister that is this a malfunction in the aircraft's electrical system? Could the same issue that caused the electrical failure system also have led to the interruption of the fuel supply to the engines? So all these issues come to the fore. And going by the conversation which was recorded in the cockpit voice recorder, the fuel supplies to the engines was cut off. The recorded conversation indicates that neither the captain nor the co-pilot manually cut off the fuel switch. This raises a significant question. So we would like to know from the Honorable Minister that going by the preliminary report which has just been received, what is the cause of this shutdown of both the engines? Was it electrical failure or electronic failure? Or what are the preliminary findings which would lead us to know the exact causes of these incidents?
Thank you.
Chairman Sir, the Honourable Member has asked a very serious and very comprehensive question regarding the incident that has happened in Ahmedabad. Sir, I would like to start by answering that the investigation process, which is according to the international protocol, the norms which were set by International Civil Aviation Organization, where the state of operation should have their investigation body, and we have our own investigation body, which is the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which got into the investigation process right after the incident with the subject experts into the site, and they have started their process according to the international protocol, and they have involved subject matter experts, all the international necessary people who are supposed to be participating in the investigation, and they have gone through the first set of investigation process, and they have given us the preliminary report. And if you look at the preliminary report, sir, AIB, as for the first time, so whenever these incidents happen, and if the black box gets damaged, black box is the flight data recorder, which has all the necessary information which gets recorded. And whenever there is a slight damage that happens, it was always, it came to that point, sir, where we were sending the black box outside to the original equipment manufacturer and getting it decoded from that state of manufacture only. And it was for the first time that as a country, India took a stand that the black box which was achieved, even if it was further future action on, it can be the Boeing 787 or the series or the fuel switches and many things which have come under question, or the avionics which you have also mentioned in your question. To have a definitive answer and a definitive future correction measures, we have to look at the final report, sir. And I can say this to the House and through you to the people of this country also, that the AIB has a very definitive, thorough, rule-based process. They are very transparently looking into the process right now, and they are totally unbiased. This also I can say that the AIB is totally unbiased and looking into the facts. Now there can be many questions also. I have seen multiple articles myself. I have seen multiple articles not only by the Indian media but also the Western media trying to promote their own narrative, their own viewpoint, their own kind of consideration. But I have to tell you that the way we are seeing the investigation is through the facts. We want to stand by the truth, not what is happening with the pilots or not what is happening with the Boeing or not what is happening with the Air India or any other stakeholder which is this. We want to stand by the truth. We want to find out what exactly happened, and that is only going to be coming out once the final report has been placed. So we have to respect the process of investigation, and once that process of investigation has happened, then we can talk about what happened and how it happened, and then the corrective measures. If we talk about the other incidents that would have happened before, let it be the Air Nippon, Japanese Airways, or any other airways for that fact, every time any incident happens in any country, then the same process is followed, where the investigation body gets into the process of investigation, and once the thorough investigation is done and the final report is placed, only then the corrective measures to all these countries and all these airline operators and all the regulators is sent so that the corrective action is being done. And this has happened in the previous incidences also. Wherever there was any incident happened, whenever there was a mandatory suggestive correction measures that were supposed to be done through the international protocol, it is mandatory for every state regulator to follow these and every airline operator to follow these. And we have thoroughly, without any negligence, we have thoroughly followed all the corrective and suggestive measures from the ICAO international protocol.
Thank you. Second supplementary.
Chairman, sir, As we are all aware that the DGCA is the cornerstone of aviation safety in our country. But as we know, that in spite of these serious incidents which have taken place in our country at this Ahmedabad incidents or the earlier whatever accidents have taken place, the DGCA is functioning at 50% of its sanctioned strength, technical strength. It's a very serious issue. I'd like to know from the Honorable Minister whether the government acknowledges this acute shortage in technical personnel within the DGCA, and what urgent and time-bound steps are being taken to fill these critical vacancies so that the regulator is fully equipped to safeguard the lives of lakhs of passengers who rely on air travel every day. Thank you.
Sir, we all know the kind of progress civil aviation took in the last 10 years, and I have also been time and again talking about the tremendous numbers depicting the growth that we have seen in the country, right, in the number of aircrafts or the passengers that travel through who prefer air travel, or the number of airports. Everything has almost doubled in the last 10 years, or more than doubled in the last 10 years, sir. Even after we see that the COVID, which was a major road break for civil aviation, we have crossed the pre-COVID numbers, and we are seeing a tremendous growth in civil aviation network. And this is why we from the ministry also recommended that we need to create more posts in this DGCA, so that the surveillance or the safety or the security of civil aviation is very much intact with the tremendous robust growth that we are seeing. And this posts that we are seeing which are vacant, which has come to discussion, is the posts which have been created in last year and over the period of last 2 to 3 years. And we have to understand that creation of posts and recruitment of posts is a continuous process. And there is UPSC which is also involved. And we from the ministry are in continuous discussion. And last year itself we have recruited 103 posts, which in the history of DGCA was the highest number of posts which was recruited. And this year we have planned to recruit 190, where UPSC also has come forward, and by October, end of October, we are going to recruit 190 posts for this DGCA. And the other thing, which is more practical, that I want to tell the House, is that these are very niche and technical posts. It's not like we have a huge pool. This is a limited pool of subject matter experts, let it be the engineers or the pilots or medical experts, aviation related experts. This is a very specific pool of people that we are trying to pick up from. And it is a very tough process of picking up the right people, because these are going to be the regulators, these are going to be the inspectors, these are going to take care of the safety. So the recruitment process is also a very rigorous process, and we are doing our, we have taken notice of this thing also, and it has been continuing process, and we are putting more pressure so that the timelines for the recruitment also come down, and very soon we are in the process of achieving 90% of these vacancies also to be recruited.
Thank you. Third supplementary, Manishri R. Girirajan.
Thank you, sir. I would like to